Welcome to another Saturday morning nerd out. Hopefully it's Saturday morning for some of you, but for everyone on this show today, it is the afternoon. But I am Graveyard, and I am awesome and pleased to introduce that we have some really awesome people here. And if, Victor Timely is he who remains, our own Miss Minutes, she who remains, the one and only, Fray girl.
Hi.
Hi.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
How goes it?
Oh, it goes. It's actually turned cold here in the Midwest. Is it cold up there too?
44.
Oh, yeah. So we have all the windows open. We've had all the windows open at night for like a week or so. So it's like I'm finally in a sweatshirt representing my team, the Spurs, because they won last night. So, yeah.
Ah, yes. The Spurs. All right. Well.
Sorry, I know. This is not your thing.
I mean, San Antonio Spurs? Absolutely.
Yeah, I love San Antonio Spurs.
But we have one other member here of our panel, and he is inviting you today to the gun show, the one and only Force.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
Well, thank you for the gun show today there, Mr. Force.
Absolutely. We ready to do this thing?
Yes, I am stoked. We have so much to go over. But before we get into that, we have to thank our sponsor, Dubby, right? So
The
whether you're
dust-
just yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So whether you are just waking up for your nerd out today, or it's afternoon for us, staying up late gaming with beer in a chair and all the awesome game stuff we have played at night, stuck in your Retro Alcove for hours at a time, or just tired from your Saber fights, our sponsor is just for you. Dubby has no calories, no sugar, no fillers, no artificial colors, no dyes. Each serving has 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is equivalent to 2 cups of coffee. And because it contains neurofactor, it gives you all the focus with none of the jitters. It is derived from the coffee fruit, so that's what you're able to get the neurofactor and all this high caffeine. So, to get 10% off to support this channel and get 10% off Dubby, go to www.dubby.gg and use code KCP2023 to get 10% off your Dubby and help support Dubby and us. We appreciate it and get 10% off. Thank you.
Go Debbie.
Yes. It's a Chuck. Hey, Chuck.
Hello, husband. So, fun fact, it's my anniversary.
Oh, isn't it? I thought that was Tuesday.
No, we got married the weekend before Halloween, and the 28th was on the weekend before. So, yeah, so it's our anniversary. It was a costume wedding, so everybody dressed in costume. Gotta brand it with the season. Come on, peeps. But yeah.
I mean, did he know he was marrying an immortal at that point in time?
He didn't know he was actually getting married until about 6 weeks before we got married. It was going to be a surprise wedding for him.
Oh.
And I had it all planned out. I had been planning it for a year and with my friends. And and I said, hey, let's have this really big blowout Halloween party. Perfect thing. Everybody would be coming dressed in costume, right? So he wouldn't know. And then I spoiled it by inviting him to the super secret Facebook invite wedding. Yeah. So I spoiled it myself. But I'm glad. I mean, he was totally on board. Like, he wanted to get married. But yeah, so it was really funny. But the looks I got when I was like, no, it's a secret wedding. You can't tell him. And they're like, And so I think some people were coming to the wedding thinking, I want to see this, whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome.
Well,
I mean, put it on my YouTube channel if it's a bad one.
Wow.
I mean, I figured it's either going to be a wedding or a sacrifice, and it's still a good show.
So it turned out. It turned out okay. Obviously, we're married, but yeah, it was great. He was Jane from Firefly, so he got to wear cargo pants, a t-shirt, and the Jane hat. And I was in a custom Wonder Woman from when she got married in Flashpoint, a dress like that. So yeah, and we got married by the Pope, so that was fun. And yeah, it was great. It was at this really cool like neon sign place called Stokely's Event Center here, and they were super awesome about the whole thing. They were totally on board from the beginning. So yay! So shout out Husby, happy anniversary! Thanks, Chris, for telling us happy anniversary. Love that you come and check us out.
Awesome. Well, we have so much to get into, but I believe we're getting a phone call, and it may be coming from inside the TVA.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Special Projects Division of the TVA. You have been selected for this special project by our leader, and goodness gracious, he said such sweet things about you. The Game Master will give you all the details so you can keep the sacred timeline intact. Remember, we take the timeline seriously here at the TVA, and you are the most important part of this sacred mission throughout the multiverse. Take it away, Game Master.
Yes, take it, Game Master, because it's time for episode 4. What ifs? Where in time is Loki? Take it away.
I feel like we have to sing it. Where in time is Loki? I don't know why. I feel like we have to sing it, but I do. All right, so this is like episode 4 and called The Heart of the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect what happened in this episode. I did not have the ending of this episode in my bingo card of the MCU for 2023 or 2024, to be honest with you. But I think it was appropriate. So let me go ahead and get into this. I will say, spoiler alert, this is the horror episode. And if you didn't catch any of the like horror type references, I apologize. Please go watch it again because it definitely was the horror episode. So I do have the Miss Minutes Minute, the top 10 things that I think we should cover or that we should remember about this episode. So number 1, Ravonna and Miss Minutes to each other. I am a strong, independent woman and I don't need no man. 2, Victor sees himself everywhere. Number 3, Victor and Obi fangirl over each other. Sorry, but that was probably my favorite scene in the whole thing. Sylvie, number 4, Sylvie is not a fan of getting pie. 5, Docs and B15 come to an understanding. 6, Miss Minutes shows her real face. 7, hot cocoa is a must. 8, Brad is enchanting, really. 9, it's time to be brave. And 10, they all have spaghetti and then blackout.
Awesome.
That's disgusting.
But all the 10 things I said, actually, like, I mean, they happen. It's just not, I don't think it happens kind of like how I said it. But it is all references to what happens in the show. If you have not seen it yet, that will, once you have seen the show, that will all make sense. If you have seen the show, you're welcome, and I'm sorry. So with the points,
yes.
We got some points here. There were some people like, there were some really good. We all really, several of us got the right time frame. We all, we're all like, yeah, this is going to take place in the TVA. It's just going to take place.
Oh, I think we all said it was a bottle episode, and it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. That's the thing about, like, especially like with WandaVision and Loki, that had so much time to really get their Bible in order, or their show book in order. The bottle episodes were like episodes with a twist. Like, this was a bottle episode, but it was like, this is a bottle episode to change all bottle episodes. I mean,
yes.
and I thought that was really cool that they did it that way, because it really was. I mean, it was a bottle episode. Like it was, you know, all took place. I mean, except for the stuff that took place right at the beginning with Ravonna and Miss Minutes at the Citadel at the end of time.
Well, you could assume that the Citadel is part of the TVA.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the more and more how like that's what it is, and especially when we see at the very beginning how the Citadel, like last season, it was like a complete circle almost with a hole in the middle. You know, you could say it was a heart, but but it was broken apart. So we saw that there were repercussions other than just the just her, like, you know, her killing, you know, he who remains. So I think that was important to see that at the beginning, to understand what happened at the end.
Yep.
So, you know, it was all kind of come together. I do have predictions about that, and that's what I was going to say. You know, let's get into some predictions. I mean, if you guys want to talk about certain things that happened in the episode, we can absolutely.
What's the leaderboard look like?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Point. I'm sorry, guys. I stayed up really late for my nerd out segment to hopefully make it perfect. And if it isn't, please don't tell me it's not, because I'm very, very sensitive about it right now. No, I'm just kidding. All right. But I haven't had a lot of sleep. This is Fray on a little bit of sleep.
Sounds like you should do some W.
No. Actually, it needs to be the opposite. I tend to get really hyper when I'm tired. And yeah. Anyway, I'm like, yeah. So this week, Graveyard, you got the time right, because you said TVA bottle episode. So you got the 50 Space Stone paperweights. I also give you 5 points for the Ravonna being a Kang variant, because I don't think we've really, I don't know. I think in the comics she's his girlfriend, like his love,
right? And
she like gets killed, and that starts him on his journey of being really having it out against the Avengers and different things like that. And I know they're playing with that a little, and they've kind of gone up to the line on it, but they kind of moved back and then backwards and forwards. So I don't know. I think it's still a possibility. I think that she's a variant, but I don't know if she's a Kang variant. But I do think that there's something there. And so I gave you the 5 extra points, the OB points. I picked the TVA, so I also got the 50 Space Stones. I didn't give myself the points for Ravonna finds out that she is he who remains, Victor Timely's true love, because they never say it. They just say partner. And I did say and original partner, but met a bad end. We don't see her meeting a bad end. So more of it was incorrect than the stuff that was correct. So I didn't give myself the points. I just don't think that was fair. Also, I don't need them. Mezzo didn't give us one, so she didn't give me points. So, and Aubrey did not either, so no points for her. Ford was like the big wampy king. He got the weekly prediction, and he got the wibbly wobbly timey wimey prediction, because he said that Victor is going to snoop around and we'll figure out he is Kang, the timely Victor the Conqueror. So I just kind of smushed it all together. And so he got it because he did snoop around. Like he wandered around and found out all this stuff. He got to see there were multiple Kangs. He's a smart guy. He can put all this together. He may not know the name Kang the Conqueror, but he who remains, but he does understand that this is a big thing, and that was a big thing for his ego. So at that point, we didn't know, is he going to jump dark? Is he going to jump light? Is he going to, where's he going to hit? And especially with like how they portrayed him as this kind of shyster or carpetbagger, con man kind of person, which I thought was great. I was like, of course, that's who he is. He can talk people into whatever, and so I thought it was kind of cool. And so I was like, yeah, it's totally more of it's right than it is wrong. he gets the point. So, Shadu is the last one, and he got the time. And then I gave him the just the 5 points because he said that Miss Minutes will reveal that she's the original Ravonna, and then Miss Minutes will possess the body of He Who Remains as the undead He Who Remains, which I was like, first of all, I was like, okay, that's dark. Like, that's real dark. And I was like, and I see her going there. So even though they didn't, but she did give Ravonna a huge secret. Mm-hmm. And she is the original Ravonna. We're coming to find out. So I think that I was like, I'm going to give them 5 for that. But if she had just possessed him for a second to freak Ravonna out, I would have given him all of it. I would have given him all of it and maybe my car keys. Like, that's like how good that was. So Phil didn't really give me anything for this week. So Jamez gave me the 1980s. I didn't really get that. And then he said that KZ turns out to be an OB variant. And also they do some sort of wink to his child acting. Like OB uses Pincher's apparel, slick shoes, or someone calls him short round. And they didn't do that, but I really love this whole Casey is actually an OB variant.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought that was so cool. Like that thought process of getting there. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So I gave him 5 points for that. Cause I just thought, that's kind of neat. I love these predictions. I love these way out predictions. Cause like, I know like a lot of them won't come true, but it's so fun to see where everybody like focuses and like how, because they're all so different. Anyway, that was the points breakdown, and let me give you quick total. All of this stuff is on our Discord, by the way. Mm-hmm. I usually post it on Fridays after the show, just so you guys can see who got what and get an updated version of that. So Graveyard is still in the lead with 205 points, but Fours is catching up. He's got 150. So we got a battle on our hands here.
So what you're saying is I just say the same thing he says, and I say
we let
play defense
go first, and then we just back ourselves up to him. No, and then everyone else, like I updated the points. Mezzo's at 15. Shadu is at 65. Young Phil is at 55. Jamez is at 65. I am up to 115. Captain Lady Moon, it has 10. Ark hasn't really done anything on that, so he doesn't have any points. So
he's gonna win it all. Oh.
Yeah, he's gonna win it all. All right, but yeah. So and remember, so this episode is number 5. I hope it's not 45 minutes of a black screen, like Husby said. You thought it would be really funny if they did that, and I'm like, that would be really funny, but I would be upset. Like I would be really upset. But yeah, so I like it. But after the premiere of this episode, we can't change our overall picks. Like, so if you guys have or want to change one of your overall picks, please do that before Thursday of this week. Sweet. All right. And yeah, that's it.
Who do you want to go? Who do you want to go first for this prediction?
All right. Let's have Forrest go first.
Why me?
Wait. You won the week. So how about we do this? You get to pick who goes first.
All right. I'm gonna give it to the husband.
Let's go.
Okay. So the time period times into my wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Okay.
I love it.
We're going to go into the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
And so that's the time period. And here's my reasoning behind it.
Okay.
So once again, spoilers ahead for anything. But so essentially, I think we saw the destruction of the TVA. And Loki, because he still is entangled, and we know he time jumps and time skips again, he is going to have to get. He's traveling to the time points of Mobius, of OB, of KC's point when they were taken from their timeline to become part of the TVA. So that's why he goes to the 90s, because he has to get the crew back together and rebuild the TVA, and realizes he needs Renslayer, Miss Minutes, and He Who Remains to build it again.
Oh, wow. So he's got to work with his perceived enemies as well as his, which I guess that's pretty on brand for the show.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty on brand for the
So
he time slips to each variant's timeline and picks them up before they get picked up by the TVA.
I think he's the one that brings them to the TVA.
Oh my goodness.
Because I think
I
think his time slips he'll be able to control, and he's the one that helps build the original TVA. Because when Kang says it's up to you guys, this is Sylvie and Loki's path to rebuild the TVA after they killed He Who Remains.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I do think this is how it goes, and they were really they've been really
thank you,
pushing.
Chris.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I've been really wondering about that because they this season especially, they've been pushing the whole I've heard several people talk about, well, we should just burn it to the ground. And they've been saying that since the beginning, and I'm like, these are clues, people, these are clues. Yeah.
So I think that's ultimately where we're going, is we find out that it is Sylvie and Loki that rebuild it, as predicted by He Who Remains at the end of season 1.
I'm gonna say gang on here to find the gang.
Yeah.
And rebuild the TVA. Okay. That way I know what you're saying and I get the gist of it. So that's why I was like, is it this? Is it that? All right. So
what do you give it?
Let's do this whole let's recap this, because I want to give it the correct thing. I'm not even gonna say green or whatever. So green is Nexus event, yellow is Prune It, and red is Nexus event is red, 0% confident. Prune It is the yellow, and the sacred timeline is green. So I'm going to give this the sacred timeline because I think you're onto something here. I was thinking something similar, that he actually learns that that time slipping is now one of his powers because he's untethered from time, and that he was going to be able to find everyone, go to the actually, he's a living TemPad almost, where he can think about the person and time slip to it, to where they are. And I think that's it. So, well,
also remember, they're both their magics are now capable of working in the TVA.
You caught that too. I'm so proud of you, because I was like, who else is going to catch that? Because that line was almost a throwaway line. And I was like, no, because I watched it a second time to get my top 10. I watched it the first time as a fan and get all mind blown and, oh my God, you really should never watch me react to Loki or WandaVision the first time I see them. Anyway, yeah, so I definitely give it. I think it's definitely sacred timeline for me. So,
what do you give it, Force?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. So I'm going green with it.
Sweet. Yay! All right, Mr. Winner of the Week, who do you want to go next? You or Fray?
I'll go.
All right, let's hear the gun show's opinions.
This is probably going to be the week that I completely blow it and get 0 points, but let's go for it. So I think we're going to the void. I think we're going to the void because we only visually saw 2 people escape this cataclysm. 1, that was Ravonna because she got pruned. And 2 was Miss Minutes because she got rebooted.
Oh.
So we're going to the void. And I'm saying that as a prime. I think next episode is going to be primary Ravonna because because when she appears in the void, she's probably gonna figure out at some point during the episode everybody got completely boned by that explosion. I also think, here's the wibbly wobbly, I also think we're going to see the initial programming of Miss Minutes, how she was created, what personality was loaded up for her. We're going to see her programming, how she was born, because we're not done with her yet, not by a long shot.
No.
Yeah,
as far as Loki is concerned, I think Loki and Sylvie's magic somehow saved them from this cataclysm. Don't know how, but I think it saved them. And scene.
Awesome. I will definitely give that a green, because I thought about the void, because we know the void is outside kind of the TVA, and we know getting pruned means nothing anymore because we know where they go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I'm giving it a green, because I think part of the rebuilding of the TVA is Loki does have to go to the void and get Miss Minutes and Renslayer to rebuild it. So that's why I'm giving it a green, just because I think that's part of the getting the gang back together, and it's everyone, including your enemies.
Wow, I think it's awesome. Man, you guys are so like hitting it out of the park.
What do you give it?
I give it a sacred timeline.
Ooh.
I give it the sacred timeline. Sorry, that was a really bad Miss Minutes. I apologize. Please go back to the video if you want to see a good Miss Minutes impersonation. And I was surprised. So we have heard Miss Minutes talk more in this season than we have in the other seasons. And I'm like, man, that was pretty good. Like I'm really critical of myself. And like, so when I listen to it, I hear all the like, oh, that could have been better. But I was like listening to her talk. I was like, man, no, that was actually pretty good. It was like, I lower my voice a little and I was like, oh, so yes, I'm bragging on myself. Sorry guys.
Let's hear your stuff, Fray.
Did you gave it green and I gave it green?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we both got it and that I'm not cutting anyone off. All right. So mine is all right. So I said the 10th, like our weekly one, I said for all time, always equals variants go back to their own timeline and Loki must go find them. I said, like, if we want to get like an actual time frame, I said we're definitely going to be in the 1980s. I think that's, which I feel like is pretty close to what Forbes was saying. He just picked the next decade. And because I think that's right. I think most of this is going to be happening like from like 82 to like 95-ish. Like that's the time frame I think is going to be the main one.
Yeah.
And then my wibbly wobbly timey-wimey theory. And I have to tell you guys this. I did this on Thursday night. Like I was like, okay, I did this on, and Shadoo's always like, I got to think about what it is. I don't know what my, and I'm like, nope. And I'm just like, so I had this done. All right. So I said, Obi mentioned the safety protocol and mentioning magic working when the protocols are disabled. And I think we all like zoned in on what could be saving them. And Loki was removed from time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now realizes he can control the time slipping. Like this might actually be a new power of his. So he goes to find the others. And someone says he's like the Lord of Time, making Kang his nemesis, aka the Master, because this is a Doctor Who. He's freaking Doctor Who, guys. I'm telling you, this all happens in Doctor Who. There are certain things, they run a lot. They go to different time periods. They have to solve problems in those time periods to save people, and humanity is the most important thing to them. They're Time Lords. Case closed. I need it to happen. And I really love OB, and he better not be a bad guy. Okay, I'm done.
All right, I will go ahead and give that a green. I like it because we're all tuning in on like the same thing. I think we see where this is going. So yeah, I'm giving it a green. Definitely Sacred Timeline. What about you there, Mr. Forbes?
I concur, and I've never seen Doctor Who once in my whole life.
Who?
The Doctor Who. Yeah. So either we're all like so like in tune with it, or we've all been duped. So
Yes.
that's like, I'm like, either way, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I will be duped because they made it pretty obvious. And all this stuff that OB has been saying has actually come true. Like everything he's been talking about really has come true. And I'm starting to think he might be a variant of Owatu the Watcher. Like, I'm like, that's where my mind's going now. I'm like, can you even variant one of them? And if so, like, why would my mind go there? And oh my God, that's brilliant. And yeah, I'm all over the place with this. And I think that's great because it's chaos and I love it. I love the chaoticness of Loki and how he's so hopeful now, and how it's this being in the TVA and being like on this show has given him so much more emotional depth. And he had so much to begin with. Like him reminiscing about like, remember, like in my time, you know, in my time, my brother went to Earth and he came back changed and I mocked him. You know, and he's like, and now he's like realizing I shouldn't have mocked him. I should have celebrated him because he understands what it's really about now. And so he's changing so much more than he ever did as the Loki we knew. So this is a totally different Loki, and it shows. And I feel like it's normalizing this. So when we get the X-Men and I don't know, some certain X-Man that can multiply himself, and then when they come back together, he retains all of their memories and experiences. I feel like we're getting that. Like we're getting, hey, you can have multiple things, and this can be a learning experience for everyone. And so I wonder, and so I also wonder if when they do the soft reboot, because we all know it's coming, guys. That's what Secret Wars is. Come on. Then are they going to have the memories of all the variants? You know, or is it truly going to be a multiversal genocide? Like that's, though, I think those are the stakes that we're talking about here in Secret Wars.
Yes. But
And
we do got to get moving on here.
Sorry. I got to go. I'm sorry.
All right, but speaking of X-Men and variants and, you know, stuff like that, we got to discuss Swiftpool.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't excited about this at first. I was like, okay, she could be Dazzler. That's cool. I like Dazzler. She'd be really good Dazzler, you know, and then like the whole thing where she's going to be herself. And I'm like, oh, I'm okay with that. I'm like, you know what? I really love this idea now. I love it.
So,
I love it.
Who do you think Taylor Swift will be in Deadpool 3? That's the question we have right now. Prediction right now.
Gonna be herself. I do. I think she is. I think that it would be funnier for her to be herself and for Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool to just like stop whatever he's doing and like go over and fangirl all over her, like really get his fangirls like all over her, and like that be something, and then just, you know, continue on with the movie, because I think that would be so much better. Or like he says he's a fan of her and she says she's a fan of his, something like that, like some cute little scene that is totally on brand for Deadpool, which is basically anything, and also gives the Swifties a fun time in a movie that they may not normally go see.
All right, Forrest, who do you think Taylor Swift will be in Deadpool 3?
She took everything I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
So that's my prediction. Next.
All right. So I think this is going to be a commentary on what Taylor Swift is doing for the NFL. And Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool goes, you know what? You know what you need to make this movie even better is we have to become a Swiftie and go see Taylor Swift. So he goes through his potential multiverse and just gets Taylor Swift, and then makes a very rude comment about how this is going to make millions of dollars now at the box office because Taylor Swift is in the movie. It's going to be a fourth wall break to go see Taylor Swift.
That would be cool. It would be even cooler if he finds if he goes to the, like what you're saying, but he goes to the Eras tour. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh my, he's like, I'm at the Eras tour. And like Taylor Swift's like, it's Deadpool. Like something like that, like a little thing like that. And then he just like pops out to somewhere else. Like he comes back and he's got like all the bracelets or something on his wrist for the whole rest of the movie or something. Like, just,
Oh yeah, and we probably will get bad blood in a fight scene.
right? Or what's the one about the?
I gave you all the information I know already.
Okay,
about
all
Taylor
right.
Swift.
Okay.
I don't know anything else about songs.
She's got some bangers out there, so she, it could be a couple. I think it, the whole that one that she did, the Shake It Off, that could also be in there. Hopefully, it would be appropriately in there. But it would be funnier if it was inappropriately in there.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right. Well, moving on to changes of different characters. And I have to hear Forrest's opinion on this. Rick and Morty, new voice actors. Has anyone watched season 7 so far?
I have not.
Mr. Forrest?
I gave one episode a shot.
Uh-huh.
I think it's done. I think the fan base is not going to stand for this. I know there's a lot of the fan base who loves the writing, who loves the execution of the jokes. But when you get used to hearing somebody play a character for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and then they are just all of a sudden gone, you lose half your fan base. I think this is their last, if not next to last season. It's done.
Do you as someone who is, voice acting is good at voices, do you hear the difference between?
Yes, absolutely. These are not subtle nuances. There's a clear difference between Roiland and these new folks.
So are they trying to mimic Roiland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Like I honestly will watch the season. We just watch it when it comes on Max. So whenever it comes on Max, we'll watch it because my husband loves Rick and Morty. So he'll either be really angry or not care.
The only way I would be tolerant of it is if our good friend Phil from Distance Nerding were playing Morty. Then I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Do you think they will bring back Roiland to save the show?
I don't know. It's 50-50. I'll say this. He stands about as much a chance of he stands the same chance of coming back as our boy does remaining Kang the Conqueror throughout the next 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Similar situations. Similar, not the same, but similar.
But Jonathan Majors hasn't been fired.
No, he hasn't.
But Justin Roiland hasn't been officially charged and tried yet either. So
correct.
Yeah.
So the likelihood, one hasn't been fired, one hasn't been rehired. But right now, as it stands, there's nothing concrete.
Yeah.
That's true. No, I agree with you on that.
So we have studios that are just making preliminary moves.
Yep.
They're like, ooh, better let you go just in case.
Yeah.
So
Justin Roiland. I mean, Justin King.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, like I said, I've been watching Rick and Morty. I watch Solar Opposites, which Justin Roiland was a big part of too, and lots of voices. Now, obviously, they got Dan Stevens for Solar Opposites to play Cobra, which sounds nothing like it.
Yes.
Now there were I do have to say though, there were points of the new season that I forgot it wasn't just Justin Roiland. There are some parts. Now, I don't think it was as spontaneous. There wasn't the ad-libbing, there wasn't the improv that Justin brought to these characters. So, and being a big part of the writers. So we have now depend on the writers to make the jokes as opposed to essentially Justin being a Ryan Reynolds of the show and just doing whatever he feels like, and then people having to work around the changes he does.
Well, and also when you bring in somebody new, they have to get used to the pattern and the how the rest of the team gels, and so that
Right.
does take a little time as well. So usually, if they do change something big like that, that it can take a season for all of those like little things to be
Well, and
ironed
it's not
out.
even
So.
it's not even the same person playing both characters. It's two different people.
No, yeah, I know. That's
So.
what I'm saying is like it's a big adjustment. So that's I was talking about solar opposites, like
Oh,
the
okay.
Dan Stevens thing, because I love solar opposites as well. so yeah, so that so I can see that, and
Well,
I do love Dan Stevens as well. I've actually seen him in a lot of stuff. He was in Legion, right? He played Legion.
Yeah.
And he was also in Downton Abbey. So hey, check it out. But yeah, I it just reminds me of the Darren thing from Bewitched.
mm-hmm.
I mean, they had one Darren for a couple seasons, several, and then just he didn't want to do it anymore, so they just switched Darrens, never said anything. And I like the original Darren and the new Darren. I think both had the same first name. Even it was like really creepy, but nobody ever said anything. And when I'm like, I wasn't well. I mean, I am immortal, so I was alive back then, but I wasn't watching the show back when it originally aired and started watching it later. And it didn't even occur to me until I watched something on it about how they changed Darren's. And I was like, oh my goodness, they absolutely did. I was like, it was Dick York and Dick Sargent. I don't know where I pulled that out of, but you're welcome. But yeah, so it just reminds me of that, and I think it's going to be like an Uncanny Valley thing, and that's why I want to watch them all together, like
Right.
just kind of binge them to kind of get over that Uncanny Valley thing with the voice, and then see if maybe I like it as much. Now I might not, but
yes, Chris. Dan Stevens was the Beast. But
he was the Beast. He wasn't Legion. He was Beast. I didn't
both.
see. Oh, he was both. I didn't see this. I need to go back and watch it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because, like, I started watching that thing that was loosely based on the X-Men with the guy from True Blood.
Gifted.
That was the dad.
The
Gifted. And I was like, I don't know what they're doing here. I don't even want to know how this ends. Like, I mean, and it had come out at the same time, and I was like, well, I'm not watching that either. I'm not even giving that a chance because I'm like, but it has like people in it that I like from the Buffyverse. So,
But speaking of let's call it the overlap, if you will. In case you guys missed it last night, Beard in the Chair did play Alan Wake 2 for 2 hours. And it is trippy, but I want to hear the take of Alan Wake 2.
You know, honestly, Husbeard, I think both of us should nail this one. However, we will we'll get a little silence going while this plays. So here's the deal with this game. So Alan Wake 2, you are playing the role of an FBI agent who is investigating the gruesome and ritualistic murder of one of their own.
Yes.
The game plays out in a couple separate ways. Number one, you're dealing with the element of survival horror. So you do have a very nice third-person view while you are investigating and escaping danger. Number two, you're residing about 50% of your time in a place called the Mind Place, where you are taking evidence from all the stuff you collect, even random assumptions.
Evidence.
Necklaces. That's all I'm going to say. And you're going to put them on this case board. And each case kind of goes back and forth, depending upon the facts that you collect. But overall, it is very trippy. It's got a mild amount of jump scares. There is Oh man. It can be terrifying starting off. Like they just throw a lot of random stuff at you, but you slowly start to kind of figure it out as you go. So for the couple hours that we put in, I would definitely say yes, this is worth a purchase. On console, it plays amazing. It looks beautiful, beautiful, beautiful on Xbox. So, if you want to tax your PC, good luck.
Yeah.
In some of the highest settings, it takes a 4,000 card to run. So be careful with that. Also, if you're not big on like super, super grotesque stuff and a lot of nudity, there's stuff that you can use to turn it all off. So that also helps.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have it yet at this point in time. Because of watching it play last night, I am going to get the game. I'm also going to get the remastered version that came out on PS5 for Alan Wake 1. Play through that first.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, other than we had this sound issue initially when we started playing the game, like, is it just silent for no apparent reason? No,
which would have been a nice twist.
It would have been an awesome twist, but it wasn't. But yeah, I mean,
they call that unexpected gameplay.
Yeah, so there is nudity censorship because let's face it, we almost saw it on that preview there,
but we didn't. So yay!
So make sure to check out Beer and Chair from last night. If you want to see us play through it, if you want to see more of it, let us know. And thank us for putting underwear on Florida Man for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, because that would have been pretty explicit.
Yes,
definitely would have seen the family jewels.
But yes, the suspension of disbelief is kind of at odds sometimes. Like I said, she is literally pulling stuff out of her butt, essentially. And then as the FBI agent, you go, evidence.
Yeah.
From nothing. And one joke we had kind of going last night was, like, what was the cause of murder? Maybe it was the guy's heart being taken out of him. I don't know why we need to spend 30 minutes deducting that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're interested in the game, go back to Beard in the Chair right here on this channel from last night under the live section here on the channel. Yeah. Just to, take a quick look at it. I'd say it's a win. It's a keeper. Oh. So definitely one of our more successful Beards in the Chair segments.
Oh,
I just have a quick question. So would you say, like, how good is like replayability? Because that's like a major factor for me if I purchase a game or not. So
thus far, I would say the story is pretty linear. So replayability, don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it hasn't presented me with options that are going to change the outcome as of yet.
Okay. So it could be like, well, oh yeah. All right. I'll ask you once you finish the game to see if maybe there's like other ways that you could go with things, and we'll talk about it. So yay.
Oh,
sounds really cool though. It does really sound cool.
I want to make it a series for Alan Wake 2 for us to do. Maybe not live, but
a pre-recorded.
You know what you could call it? Wake up, Alan.
There you go.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I almost went with a wakeboard joke, but
all right. But moving on to in the essence of Spoopy, Fall of the House of Usher.
Uh-oh.
Have you watched it yet, Fray?
I actually haven't watched it. I kind of forgot about it. Look, there's been a lot going on. Yeah. And so I haven't watched it yet, but I'm really interested in it because like Fall of the House of Usher is one of my like favorite Poe stories that Isaac Asimov did in space as well. And it's like one of my favorite Isaac Asimov's, what is it? Return to the Fall of the House of Usher, something like that. But it's like a short story he did homage to Edgar Allan Poe, and I just thought, oh, so cool. So I was that nerd in high school, by the way.
So I will give my quick little review of it. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'll try to keep this as spoiler free as possible for a story that is 140 years old. So it is done by Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan has given us Ouija Origins, Oculus, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Midnight Club, and even there's a couple other movies that he does. He puts his wife into everything. So it is, like I said, this is based on the fall of House of Usher, but does take place in 2023. Bruce Greenwood plays Usher, Frederick Usher, the main patriarch of the family. Yeah. And if you and you're going to see everyone that you've seen for anything of Mike Flanagan's into this movie.
No way.
I know, right? It's like he has a cast and crew that he keeps everywhere. So
Who
while
is he, James Gunn?
I know. He is James Gunn of horror. So
James Gunn was the James Gunn of horror there for a little while.
Yes. But if you know the foul House of Usher, essentially Usher's house is crumbling around him as his family is getting killed. It's about him and his sister being the last people alive, and then on essentially what he considers his deathbed, admitting all his atrocities to his friend. And this is what this movie is. Except here's a twist that's not really a twist without spoiling anything. Every episode is also based on the Edgar Allan Poe story.
Oh,
so you have
awesome.
You have the Black Cat, you have the Telltale Heart, you have the Raven. Each episode is based off of that. So we always wondered how we'd be able to do a series off of a 20-page story. This is 8 hours of TV from a 20-page story. Now, I think it works out beautifully, and like I said, each episode is based off of a Poe story. So if you know the works of Edgar Allan Poe, you know the Black Cat story about the cat trapped in the wall, you know Telltale Heart of the beating of the heart, you know the Raven. So if you are a fan of Mike Flanagan, the death, the Mask of the Red Death is one of them. Okay. Murder of the Rue Morgue is also one of them. So it's all classic stuff. So if you're a fan of Mike Flanagan, if you're a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, and you want to see a good modern twist, not the Raven, I highly recommend this. It is a fantastic show, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it is amazing. So make sure to check that out. Not paid, not sponsored.
No, I think it's amazing. Yeah, I did actually forget about guys. I haven't even watched Gen V yet, and I love The Boys, so it's like I'm so behind on stuff like that. I think I burned myself out a little, and so I'm like, I just need some time. But yeah, no, it sounds so good, and I love that it's almost like it's an anthology. So and all of these stories are like him telling this story on his deathbed. Yep. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. That is so cool.
It is such a good modern twist on an old story.
God, I love that. I love it. I will have to check it out. Because I really I did want to, because I love House of Usher, and knowing that it has all of the other stuff in there too, like the Telltale Heart and Mask of the Red Death and all that. I love it. And Annabelle Lee is like my favorite poem of his, and so I'm always like, oh, did they do anything on her? Anyway, I went through a goth phase. Okay,
went or still are?
I'm not in a goth phase. Look at my outfit.
It's not a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle.
I'm in my goth era.
So, Forbes, I know you're not a huge fan. Did I convince you to watch this before?
I mean, if I've got time, I'll probably check it out.
All right.
That was I like you, dude, but I'm not making any promises.
Well, I think it's time for the nerd out. I think we have everyone's favorite segment, Fray's Fortunes.
Okay.
Speaking of horror stuff.
Yeah, speaking of heart palpitation. All right.
Remember, 5 minutes on the clock and go.
All right. Hi, everybody. So today I'll be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've dubbed this the Chosen One Tour. You're welcome. All right. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer first appeared in a B-movie comedy of the same name, starring Christy Swanson and Luke Perry. Rest in peace, Pike. But Joss Whedon, the creator, felt that there was more to tell about this plucky, ugly mole-removing cheerleader / vampire slayer. In the following years, Whedon shopped a pilot around, and a new network, the WB, picked up the series. It premiered on the WB on March 10th, 1997, until it switched networks in 2001. It switched to the UPN and finished its run there on May 20th, 2003. So if you think about it, the last episode is 20 years old this year. Although I will always have a special place in my heart for the movie. Like, I even bought a pair of like the wrestling shoes that Buffy wore in that training montage scene. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The TV series really had the chance to give Buffy Summers a fresh start on a Hellmouth, because nothing says fun times like a demon attracting supernatural beacon. So from the first episode of the series to the series finale, the story revolves around an unconventional vampire slayer, her group of friends dubbed the Scooby Gang or Scoobies, and her very British watcher. She starts as a sophomore at Sunnydale High and ends the series all grown up with a teenage sister and all the everyday problems a modern woman can handle, plus, blood-sucking fiends. The show makes a point of grounding the monsters in reality. Not all of them are geniuses or even have a plan, and sometimes they aren't even evil, but just trying to live their lives. Anyone up for a game of kitten poker? Perhaps. The meaty goodness of the show is the character development. This is down to the excellent writing. The writers took what could have been a one-joke story of the damsel really being the superhero and turned it into 7 seasons of humor, horror, and female empowerment. Each member of the Scooby Gang has a layered, overarching story that tackles real-world issues and at times puts them at odds with each other. The choices the characters make can have consequences, and they don't always know how to deal with those consequences. Big issues are touched on, and a lot of demons / monsters of the week are real world issues translated into the supernatural. If the meaty goodness of the show is the character development, the special sauce is the dialogue. There are so many terms we still use today, like Hellmouth, Big Bad, 5x5, and my personal favorite, that'll put marzipan in your pie plate bingo. Thank you, Jana Svensson, for that gem. Now, our heroes need someone who wants all that tasty Hellmouth evilness for themselves, which brings us to the mini Big Bads Buffy and the Scoobies have faced. Each season's Big Bad is a fully fleshed out character with emotions, agendas, and problems. One of their main problems is, of course, Buffy. She's confident, powerful, and has a quippy comeback to every threat. She is unique in that she has friends and manages to survive when another Slayer would be down for the count. Buffy's secret weapon is her support system. Dysfunctional as it may be, they are the reason she survives to adulthood. Although she does die twice and even sings about it at one point, she does endure and overcomes everything thrown at her. But sometimes she needs a little help from her friends. This makes the show stand out. The main character doesn't take her chosen one duties seriously. She tells her friends about her calling and puts them in danger like all the time. She breaks all the rules of being a Slayer, and that's why she succeeds. We root for her no matter what the Hellmouth throws at her and her friends. The show has that great mix of relatability and humor with a dash of emotional trauma and mild terror. I know I'm not alone in loving Buffy Summers and her Scooby Gang, and I'm merely scratching the surface of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer phenomenon. It is one of the most important TV series of the 90s because it helped empower teenage girls and women. A female-led TV show where a young girl had all the power. She is what the monsters were afraid of. There's a lot more I could cover, but I thought I'd give an introduction and a brief overview.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
I have a question for you. You being a big Buffy fan, you being a comic fan, how do you feel about the show being continued in comic form, season 8 and 9?
I actually have all of those comics and read all of them. And they actually spun off a Faith series. She had like a little mini series that she did that was excellent as well. I really liked it. I thought it was much better than the Angel one that they did after that. The Angel one just kind of, I don't know, it went weird. It just went to hell, and it was a different thing. It was just totally different. And I liked it. I read it, but yeah, I really liked it. I liked where they went with it. They did go all militant because, they activated all the Slayers. So, they had to go and find all of the Slayers because not all of them made it. So I thought that was really interesting how they, what they did. They left it open so they could do more stories. And I thought that was a really cool thing. Whereas I felt Angel, it the ending of Angel really was the end. It was kind of cool they went to hell and all this stuff, but it was just like, I don't need to see this. So I did really like the comics. But yeah, I was gonna mention them. How I have both the video games that they did. I have the all the comics. I even have the comics that actually ran during the show. I actually got to touch one of the prop sites and saw Joss Whedon give it to Carl Moline at Comic-Con. So and my name, my gamer tag, my Fray girl, was given to me by Joss Whedon. So when I say that I'm a fan of Buffy, I'm a huge fan of Buffy. I've met most of the cast, and it was a huge thing for me. It was my Ash Williams.
There you go.
So that's just to let you know. So I could have gone really in depth with this and talked about overarching cultural things that it created, but I did not. I just decided to talk about it briefly.
So I haven't seen all the show, but if you had to guess what my favorite episode is that I've seen, what do you think it is?
Oh gosh. What your favorite one?
Uh-huh.
Well, the first thing that popped into my head was Dracula. But I don't know if you've seen that far into it.
He can't die because he just turns into smoke. He keeps reappearing when she's going to stab him again. But let's say the episode had Abe Sapien in it.
Okay. All right, Abe Sapien. Oh my gosh.
Who played Abe Sapien?
I don't even remember who played Abe Sapien.
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones. What episode was Doug Jones in at Buffy?
Well, I can't talk about it because my voice was taken away.
He was in Hush?
Yeah.
I didn't know Doug
He was the gentleman,
so
the main gentleman.
Oh my gosh. And he also played the Uber Vamps, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the first thing I remember. I think that's what when people say Doug Jones, I was like, well, who would he have been in that you would have Hush is an excellent episode. Followed, another excellent episode is The Body. And then the episode after The Body, which I think is more important than the actual episode The Body, because it's everyone's grief, that raw grief. And I was way more impacted by that episode than I think I was in shock when The Body came out and then after it. And so it was really good. The timing and the way the writing was done and how they really just let the rawness of the emotions of each character come out in any situation. I just thought it was great. I thought it was great. I thought it brought up a lot of issues that hadn't been brought up in the 90s and early 2000s that started some stuff. And, those women grew up, and then suddenly we have a Me Too movement, and like there's all this other stuff going on. So I think that it culturally helped a lot of people. It's okay to be a nerd and a girl, and to be, you know, and to not be okay with what's going on in your world. And it's awesome. Yay, girl power.
Awesome. Forrest, are you a Slayer?
So I went through the first 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But my favorite, my favorite was had to be when the big bad told Buffy that he can't be killed by conventional methods. So she says, "Okay, well then I'll have to kill you by unconventional methods."
Oh yeah, that was season 2.
That was my favorite.
That was their. I want to say, I think it was a 2-part episode. That was the second part. It was when they changed from Monday nights to Tuesday nights. And in the first one, Angel goes bad. And the second one, it's the judge played by, Bruce? Is his name Bruce? He also played Luke in season 1, but he plays the judge in season 2. And yeah, he's an amazing, Brian Thompson. Sorry, it's Brian Thompson. And yeah, I loved that episode when she had got that. And he was like, his reaction, he's like, what is that? And you see Angel, just like, they're like, oh, we're out. Peace. Yeah, that was a really good episode. I can't remember what it was called. It was it was like Homecoming, and then the second one, but that's the one you're talking about. It's like episode 13, I think, in the season. Anyway, they're at the mall. So I know a lot, guys. I've seen the unaired pilot. I had it on VHS. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up. Thank you for another of those Fray fortunes and your nerd out on Buffy. Let's give our pluggables, shall we? Fray.
Oh, hey, I'm up with the pluggables. Plug. All right. Hi guys, I am Fray Girl. You can catch me here every Saturday. I've been kind of missing on the distance nerding, but I will be back in November. We're not doing a Halloween episode, so I will be back in November on Tuesdays for the download. And I have my own channel where I do classified and journals of the classes. We do have a classified that just came out on Doctor Who, of all things. So if you guys would like to see that, it is up now on the Fray Girl channel. Shadu does it with me, and we had a lot of fun doing the Doctor Who one. And there was a really interesting little conversation about Rose becoming one with the TARDIS and when that happened. So expect that. But that's me. You can follow me on all social media at either Fray Girl or Fray Comics, wherever you get your fine social media.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gun Show himself.
I am Fours. You can find my work at saberfont.com. If you get yourself a lightsaber from, say, a convention, or vadersvault.com, kybercave.com, or even customdarkwolfsabers.com, go head over to Saberfont. Get yourself a sound font, put it on there, enjoy it. You can find me over at our sister channel, which is Distance Nerding, on Tuesdays for the download. And don't forget to be back right here at Kyber Cave on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, for Beard in the Chair, where we just rock out all the nerdiness on these new games. Until next time, may the Fours be with you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Graveyard, you see me here 2 to 3 days a week. You can find me interviewing awesome people, running brackets on the build on Thursday at our sister channel, This Is Nerding. You can see me harassing Phil on Mondays when he's gaming. Top of that, I'm also a co-host of the Mostly Pod Out at Night, Mostly podcast. New episodes are releasing every Wednesday on Comic Con Radio. Make sure to check that out. Also, all archival stuff is wherever you get your podcasts. So if you're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that stuff, it is there. Also, we have a brand new show, Conversations in the Void, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, where I talk to people in the horror community. It is a blast. Make sure to check that out. It is, I love it. We had the Horror Dads production just randomly appear on the show Wednesday night. It was a blast. So make sure to check that out. as we are giving away prizes as we get more and more subs. So everything in the horror world, check that out. And so, on behalf of everyone here, make sure to check out our Patreon. Just for as little as $1 a month, you can support our channel and be entered to win free swag. And the higher tiers, the better the swag. So remember, every May 4th, we give away a lightsaber over Kyber Cave. Also, join our Discord server. You want to talk nerdy to us, you want to talk horror, you want to talk gaming, any and everything. Join our Discord where you can see all the points for all the great games we are doing. And we have some moderators here on this channel as well. So make sure to check that out. And yeah. And, like, comment, subscribe, because the more subscribers we get on this channel, the more chances you have to give away a lightsaber. So every 100 subscribers, we give away a lightsaber. And make sure to hit that like, comment below. Helps get into the algorithm, makes our show better. And let us know in the comments what you like, what you don't like, and what do you want to see us nerd on, game on, or play retroly actively as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night for Saber Rattle. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.